KMGH TV, Denver. Jim Redmond. Bertha Lynn. Ron Allen's weather. And Gary Cruz with sports. Now, KMGH 7 News.
Good afternoon. The raging inferno at a Colorado Springs propane gas plant is over now, but not before causing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage and forcing the evacuation of several families in the Citadel neighborhood of the Springs. Lance Hernandez and Michael Marsh were on the scene all night long. First, Lance reports on the fire that kept firefighters busy throughout the night.
Numerous explosions rocked an industrial area about 3 miles east of downtown Colorado Springs last night. The explosions were touched off when propane being transferred from a truck to a storage tank began leaking at the Red Tag gas plant. At first, residents didn't know what had happened.
We heard a loud boom. My son-in-law asked me what it was, and I said, I think it's Fort Carson. About that time, it was another boom, and it sounded like the windows was going to crush in. So he came out, and he ran down here, and he saw a fire. We thought a plane had crashed.
The first concussion and explosion hit us, we could feel it and heard it, and the second one followed immediately, and we ran outside, and I must say, haven't seen anything quite that spectacular in quite some time.
Following the explosions, police set up roadblocks and began evacuating residents and onlookers in an 8-square block area. Firemen continued to pour water on the remaining tanks to keep them from blowing up. Damage estimates exceed $200,000 to the gas plant itself. In addition, a paint shop and house were destroyed. One person was injured while making a bulk delivery to the plant, but he was treated and released. Although the fire is out, the situation is not back to normal, as Michael Marsh reports.
By noon today, firefighters were able to shut off valves on the leaking propane tanks, cut off the gas supply, and extinguish the flames. But just because the fire is out, the danger is not over.
Right now, the fire is out. I can't say that the situation is totally under control as long as you have cylinders that are leaking or potentially leaking.
Earlier in the day, a single plume of flame and jets of water were all that were left of last night's inferno. A nightmare for Pam and Ron DeFazio, whose house burned to the ground in the fire and resulting explosions.
We're just rounded the corner, going through the door, and you could feel the impact, and then the glass, you could just hear glass shattering through the house.
It knocked me down, and Ron fell over me, and then he just practically pushed me out the back door, and then from there we just ran up the hill.
A 4-square block area around the propane plant is still cordoned off. About 10 businesses are closed, and traffic is still being rerouted. Because the situation is still considered potentially dangerous, at least 15 to 20 homes are evacuated, and this school, which is 8 blocks away, has also been shut down for the day. But some nearby residents chose to stay in their homes, still keeping abreast of the situation in case it changes again.
Well, we're not stupid. I mean, we know that there's that potential and everything. We're trying to act as if nothing's going on and trying to make it as normal as possible.
As close as these houses are to the propane plant, none was damaged. But last night's fiery explosion has some thinking twice about living so near.
No. God, let's hope not. Once is enough.
In Colorado Springs, Michael Marsh, 7 News.
The Colorado Springs Fire Department hopes to have all of those propane tanks stabilized completely late today or tomorrow. Until then, the evacuations and the road closures in the area will continue, Bertha.
Jim, it was December of last year that a propane explosion killed 10 people in Glenwood Springs. The blast ripped through the Rocky Mountain Natural Gas Company, destroying the company offices. Investigators believe the fatal explosion was caused by a welder's torch near a leaking propane truck. Even though it is very dangerous, propane is also very much a part of our lives. So for this week's Fire Stoppers report, we'll remind you of some ways to use propane safely. Live at a local propane storage station is our Scott Sobel. Scott, who regulates the use of propane?
Bertha, the Department of Transportation regulates gas tanks like these, but once propane is purchased, the safe use of propane and propane systems is really up to you and me. We use propane all the time for everything from propelling our vehicles to heating our homes and cooking our food. The fire department says cooking and heating are the circumstances under which most of us come into contact with propane. So to be safe, make sure the propane tank you use for those reasons has a manufactured date on it. Have an expert check the tank at least 12 years after the date, or if you notice excessive rust or holes in the tank. If you smell leaking propane, check the hoses and connections around the tank. Use soapy water around the connectors. A leak will cause the gas to bubble. If you can't stop the leak...
You never know how big the leak is, what sources of ignitions may be around, so we don't want anybody hurt. So if they've got a leak that they can't stop, if they just call the fire department.
Store propane tanks in an upright position with a pressure relief tank valve free. Remember, don't fill a tank more than 80% of its full volume. The gas must have at least that room to expand, or you could end up with a ruptured tank, a huge explosion, and a fire. Also when storing, use a screw-in plug, which can be bought at most hardware stores. Finally, propane is used as an accelerant in many aerosol cans. Don't use that spray can near ignition points. And don't try that spray can trick yourself. We did that under the strict supervision of the fire department. Bertha?
Okay. Scott, does propane have to come into contact with a flame like we just saw to be dangerous?
Not necessarily an open flame. It can come into contact, say, with a pilot light. It can come into contact with static electricity from a telephone, even a spark generated from the taps on your shoes. So be very, very careful.
Okay, you be careful getting out of there. I think we got the message, too. And sometimes using propane is like playing with a bomb, as we saw yesterday in Colorado Springs. That's Scott Sobel reporting live for us. Jim?
In Boulder County today, a 19-year-old man is behind bars for allegedly attacking his 66-year-old aunt with a sledgehammer. John Hillman is being held for investigation of robbery and assault of the elderly. Now, his aunt, Hazel Heil, was attacked Tuesday night and is in stable condition right now with a fractured skull. Back in July of 1984, the decomposed body of Hillman's 14-year-old stepsister was discovered near the family ranch. She died of a fractured skull, and her murder remains unsolved. However, authorities say Hillman is not a suspect in her death.
A 13-year-old Broomfield boy has been sentenced to 5 years in a detention facility for killing a friend's mother. Ryan Unruh is the youngest of 3 teenagers accused of slaying Rita French back in April. Yesterday, Unruh pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and being an aggravated juvenile offender.
3-year-old Anthony Wright died from trauma to the head and abdomen caused by a blunt instrument. Those are the findings of the Denver medical examiner, who concluded his autopsy late this afternoon. The boy collapsed at a Mercy Medical Center elevator Tuesday as his parents sought medical care there for him. While we know how he died, questions remain as to why he was allowed to remain in his home when social services workers removed his sister from that home. John Bowman spent the day working on these questions and has more on why the family doctor in this case failed to report the signs of physical abuse he saw last May.
That's right, Jim. The physician involved is Clarence Phillips. He told 7 News yesterday that in May he spotted signs of abuse but did not report those signs to social services. Now, many in the medical profession understand why doctors do not report such crimes, even though there are laws on the books that require them to do so.
A small baby, and he only weighed...
Clarence Phillips told 7 News he saw the signs of abuse, welts from an electrical light cord whipping, but thought by talking to Antoinette Wright and Darrell Reynolds that they would temper their forms of punishment. For failing to report the incident, he could face criminal charges.
I can understand how it happens, and I happen to know who it is, and I think he is a very good doctor, and I think he would try very hard to do the best he knows how. And if he didn't, he must have had good reason, and I certainly would not put blame on him, but I think it's a very common problem.
Dr. Cantwell says it happens because the doctors don't perceive leaving the child in the home as dangerous, or because they think parents listen better than they really do. That is why the abuse laws are on the books, to protect doctors and the public from liability if charges are unfounded. Medical societies like the Denver Medical Society counsel members on issues like this, but if they receive complaints...
If there is a member where a complaint has been registered, we can pull that member in and interview him, and we have a system of appeals and a systems of jurisdiction where we can do some censoring of his professional activities, but not limit his practice.
Currently, the Medical Practice Act cites as grounds for discipline 2 or more acts of substandard care by a physician or a single act of grossly negligent medical practice. And if a physician is found by the board adhering to have committed 2 or more acts, then discipline against the license may be imposed.
Now, for the state board to become involved, charges must be filed by either a family member or the police, and to this day, none have been filed. Still, while the case winds its way through the system, the call is out to all doctors to report suspected cases
for the good of us all. Jim?
So, John, who could punish or hold a doctor responsible in a case like this for not reporting something?
Well, charges must be filed by someone before the state board can review a case. We might add that the Board of Examiners says it's very rare that child abuse cases ever get to their agency. That, in and of itself, gives us cause to wonder who's looking out for children in violent home life situations.
Well, they're one of the toughest cases to prove, too. Thank you very much, John Bowman, for this tragic story. Brother?
Still ahead on 7 News this Thursday, it's hard to believe, but it's true. It's not too soon to winterize. And if the weather holds up tomorrow, we're in for a solar surprise. These stories are coming up in our second half hour.
And stories coming up in our next segment. Denver school buses get a clean bill of health after a safety check today. And why are all the students choosing a career in the classroom? The story's coming up.
Welcome to Woolworth, where there's always something worth shopping for.
Photo albums.
During Woolworth Dollar Days, you can save on these 100-page self-adhesive albums at $5 or expandable styles starting at $4.
Wicker.
Handsome woven wicker baskets and trays at 2 for $5, or larger pieces for your home and home decorating at $5 each.
Birds.
From Hearts, parakeets only $10 each, or a hobby kit with everything for your new pet, now $17. At Woolworth, where shopping for values is a tradition.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it, the big one. The final days, I repeat, the final days of 2.9% GMAC financing and up to $1,000 cash backs at Burt Chevrolet. At Burt, you'll get a big discount and you'll choose from Colorado's biggest selection. These last days of 2.9, you can buy a new Chevrolet for as low as $56.88, a full-size Chevy truck for as low as $75.88. We may never be able to offer financing this low again, so don't wait. See you tomorrow at Burt Chevrolet.
Some things were just made for each other, like salt
and pepper,
Romeo
and Juliet,
and now Colorado Treasure
and Loose Change.
2 completely different games
from the Colorado Lottery,
with more ways
to win more money.
They're 2 games
that are good apart
and even better together. Like Mutt
and Jeff,
hot
and cold,
cash
and carry,
gold
and silver.
Play Colorado Treasure
and Loose Change,
because 1
plus 1
could really add up.
Parents can rest assured today that their children will be getting home safely on Denver's school buses. 159 district buses underwent special brake checks today. The checks were prompted after mechanics found that lock units on the brakes of some of the buses had not been tightened properly. All the buses have been checked, though, and school officials say they make the grade. Overall, enrollment in the Denver public school system is on the decline again after showing the first rise in 16 years just last fall. The latest figures released by the school district show enrollment in kindergarten through the 12th grade has fallen 116 students since last year. But the preschool program of the Denver district is showing an increase, as well as the elementary program. The big decline, it seems, is at the middle school level. Almost 400 students fewer there than last fall.
A teacher shortage is in the future for Colorado, but as Andrew Hill reports, there is a trend at one Colorado college that may help alleviate the predicted shortage.
What's going on at CU Denver's education department is happening at no other college or university in this country. Enrollment among students who want to be teachers has jumped 48% over last year and 96% compared to 1984. Why it's happening prompted Dean Bill Grady to survey the students. What he's found is most are between 25 and 39, and the average student has 8 years professional experience, meaning they're going through a career change.
Stability may be something that some of these people are searching for, and the teaching profession for competent, good, outstanding teachers is stable. It may not pay the best, but it is stable.
Grady also found a predicted teacher shortage has brought some of these adults back to the classroom.
I decided it would be a good career change. I thought I could get a job.
Still, Colorado will have to continue importing teachers from other states to keep up with demand. But that won't be enough to avert a teacher shortage in the year 1990.
8.19 moles.
Physics teachers like Dylan Evans are becoming a rare commodity. So are other science, math, and special education teachers. They're opting for higher-paying business jobs. And schools in the rural areas will be hardest hit, simply because schools in larger cities pay more money. Now, increasing enrollment at UCD and other schools will have some bearing on the teacher shortage, but will not turn it around. Ann Trujillo, 7 News.
Future teachers will have a tougher time in 1989 here in Colorado. Graduation will require a degree in a specific subject, plus an additional 36 to 45 hours, and then certification. Colorado is the only state so far that has such strict requirements for teachers. Now, it could be a penny-pinching holiday this Christmas up in Adams County for the teachers there. More than 500 educators in District 1 may be asked to defer their last paycheck of the year to help ease a budget shortfall. Superintendent Michael Severino says the Mapleton District could be up to $500,000 short because of cuts in state aid. The district is expected to meet tonight with the Mapleton Education Association to discuss the request.
Many school children in Aurora have grown up with Mary Ellen Danner, and now Danner is getting some recognition. She's a 71-year-old volunteer at Crawford Elementary School, and tomorrow, Governor Richard Lamb will honor Danner for her dedication and enthusiasm on the job. Danner also spends a lot of her time with children from broken homes, and she is always quick to provide a lap and a hug for the kids. Top honors go out today to another distinguished educator in Colorado. He is George Parsons of Lewis Palmer Elementary School in Monument. Parsons is one of only 58 grade school principals in the nation honored for their commitment to excellence. Still ahead on 7 News, you'll find out why women married to smokers are in deep trouble.
And are the benefits of a new impotency treatment worth the risks? Find out next.
Discover Denver's only radio station that plays bright light and easy music. Cozy. Set your radio to FM 101. KOSI.
This is Jocelyn's warehouse. It's empty because we moved everything to all Jocelyn stores for the big in-store warehouse sale. Jocelyn's warehouse sale starts Saturday at 8 a.m., downtown 9 a.m., with savings of up to 50% store-wide. So check your paper for all the details. Then hurry to Jocelyn's for the in-store warehouse sale.
I wish I was at the stores.
Only Jocelyn's can have a warehouse sale without the warehouse.
Almost wholesale or less. That's what you'll pay at factory outlet stores. And here's the proof. Just $599 buys your choice of this $1,200 decorator sofa and love seat, or this plush 2-piece sectional. Plus this bonus, we'll give you this $300 value oak trim brass and glass dinette absolutely free. You heard right. Buy the sofa and love seat or sectional, and the 5-piece dinette is yours free. So come to 3392 West Alameda, 72nd and Federal, or 2101 Market Street, and pay almost wholesale or less. That's factory outlet stores.
Old Man Winter is just around the corner. Don't you freeze your way through this one wishing you'd done something to insulate your home. Do it now. Call today for our 25% pre-winter special, and we'll give you free dowel wall insulation with your purchase. Call Federal Building Improvements for your free in-home demonstration of our Alumark Premium Steel Siding. Yes, sir, the only siding with a 50-year no-fade warranty. Call now. Old Man Winter is out to get you.
Impotence is a subject most people don't often discuss, but worry about a lot. Dr. Dina Dell reports now on a new treatment and the controversy it is creating.
Of the 10 million men who suffer from chronic impotence, most have physical causes. Diabetes, heart disease, and cancer are some of them. For many of these men, that new drug papaverine has given them a new lease on life. The drug causes prolonged arousal in most cases, but the drug is controversial. And if it's to be used at all, most feel that it should be restricted only to physical impotence. Well, it was inevitable that sooner or later somebody would try this drug in psychological impotence. University of Washington urologists have just completed a study of psychological impotence using papaverine. And they feel that this drug should not be kept from these men, especially those men who do not respond to psychotherapy. The report says that prime candidates are single men who often wind up depressed, hopeless, and withdrawn with no social contacts because of a fear of dysfunction. Papaverine caused an average arousal of 3.5 hours in most of the patients and acted as a lifeline for these men, giving them self-esteem and confidence. Many had normal function return after one papaverine experience. It should be stated that 6 of the 75 patients in the experiment had tumescence that lasted more than 5 hours. And that can be dangerous and lead to permanent physical impotence. This drug should be used only by an expert urologist who specializes in impotence. I'm Dr. Dina Dell.
Once again, because of the danger involved, it is recommended that you consult a specialist before you agree to take that drug.
The tobacco industry is under attack again tonight. A new study finds that women married to smokers are 3 times more likely to have heart attacks than females married to non-smokers. The study was made of more than 14,000 men and women by researchers at the University of Utah at Salt Lake City. The result of the study linking passive smoking to health hazards was presented yesterday to the American Public Health Association, which is meeting in Las Vegas. Denver public school students with little or no access to other health care may get some help from the school system. Lincoln, East, and Manual high schools have been selected as sites for proposed school-based health clinics. Services would include treatment for minor medical problems, drug abuse, and mental health care. The fate of the clinics depends on the approval of a $900,000 grant application the district is making. If approved, though, the clinics would open during the 1987-88 school year.
Still ahead, we'll give you the latest developments on the proposed construction of the Berthoud Tunnel.
And up next, we'll bring you an interview with a legend in the world of tennis in our sports warm-up, right after this.
On the next Entertainment Tonight, Oscar winner F. Murray Abraham goes from music and Mozart to mayhem and murder in the mystery thriller The Name of the Rose.
I think the gamble paid off. I also think it cured me of wanting to play bad guys for a long time.
Then raise a toast to the newest member of the Falcon Crest family as Kim Novak makes her soap opera debut.
Plus the femme fatales of TV's most far-out sport.
All on the next Entertainment Tonight.
Watch Entertainment Tonight, 6:30 Thursday on Channel 7.
What's going on, Dave? You seem a little tied up.
What, the grand opening, you know.
Dave, do you mean the new service merchandise grand opening in Westminster? Don't you think this is going a bit too far?
Oh, you can talk about it all you want, but I'm not going this time. I mean it. I really mean it. I can't.
Right, Dave. You're really going to stay away.
Yes, I can't.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yes. I'm going.
See you there, Dave.
I'm going. I'm going.
Taxi. John falls head over heels in love at first sight.
I've never felt this way before. I mean, this is the first time a girl sitting across from me in a bar has gotten me all excited.
I don't think you have to announce everything that's happening in your body.
Now, all he needs is one killer line to get a date.
Let's cut the preliminaries. You want to get married?
That won't backfire.
Sure.
On Taxi.
Watch Taxi Thursday at 10:35 only on Channel 7.
What do you want to do about dinner?
Not cook it.
Aren't you hungry?
Not hungry enough to cook.
Let's go out.
We can't afford to go out to dinner every night.
But we can't afford Coco's succulent lobster tails, a thick, juicy steak, and a crisp green salad. All for just $7.95. Great idea, huh?
I may never cook again. Just teasing. Coco's, it's always a pleasure.
We have a special edition of Warm Up today, a talk with a special athlete.
You better believe it. Of course, we don't get many Thursday warm-ups around here, so it has to be special, right? Yeah. You got it. Big-time tennis has come back to Colorado in a big way, everyone. The world's top player, Yvonne Lindell, is in town tonight to meet Jimmy Connors in a special exhibition at McNichols. We're going to go live to Big Mac right now, and joining me there is the man himself, Jimmy Connors. Jimmy, I'd say you were one of my great idols, but I'm older than you. No big deal there. Number one, now, coming into Colorado, Jimmy, what kind of it's an exhibition. How do you play in that? I know you always go all out, and I wonder, will that be the same thing?
Absolutely. I think anytime you come in and anybody comes in to play tennis and has pride in their performance and in their game, they're going to go out and give it everything they have. And this is no different for me than finals of a Wimbledon or a U.S. Open. I'm out there working on my game and trying to perform as best I can, and that's what it's all about.
You know, you're going to play, of course, the #1 player in the world again. You've been there. I'd certainly like to get there again. Can you do anything in an exhibition? Like you said, you did say you work on your game just a bit, but can you do other things maybe that the public may notice tonight?
Well, I think the enjoyment factor is also going to be up there, and you go and you work at your game, you're practicing, you're playing hard, and also you can go out and it doesn't hurt to have a smile on your face either. So if you can, me as far as a player goes, can bring the interest in the game and also the people to come and feel that they're part of what's going on down there, then I've completed my job for the evening.
Jimmy, of course, you've been in Colorado before. You play up Beaver Creek and the Kiva Classic. You've been here this year, so the altitude shouldn't be much of a factor to you, should it?
Well, you hope not, but you don't play in the altitude like this very often. And as far as coming back, and I've had a 3-month break from playing in the altitude, such as at Beaver Creek, so it's a little bit getting used to. But as far as getting under control, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Jimmy,
you're truly one of the true characters in this game. You've been up and down the spectrum. You've been the bad boy. Now you're the good guy. How do you like your image right now?
Well, I haven't minded it at any time, really. I started out, and the press on one side was very quick to excuse me, to brand me when I first came up, and actually, I didn't mind that. It was a little bit of an early brand for me, but I didn't mind it, and I played good tennis under that brand, and I enjoyed it that way. But I think as time has gone on, not only have I changed a little bit, but also the people and maybe the press a little bit, to where they understand now that the things I've done in the past were to get me going and to get me pumped up for my tennis and to play better tennis. And along the way, if that's changed people's attitudes toward me and appreciate my tennis and my personality a little better, then that's just fine.
You have T3000 rackets. How many you got left?
Well, I don't use that racket anymore. I've gone to an oversized racket at the moment, and I played with it for the last 2 weeks, and I've enjoyed it, and I think I'm playing pretty well with it. But as far as playing with the old racket, I've kind of put that aside, and maybe my future now is in the mid-size category. So I'm looking forward to working with that racket again.
All right, Jimmy. By the way, our anchor woman here, Bertha Lynn, wants to know how the baby is.
The babies are fine.
All right.
Everybody's
Thank you
doing
very
well,
much, Jimmy Connors. Good luck tonight.
Thank you,
Pleasure
sir.
having you on our show tonight, of course. Jimmy Connors. So
that was great.
I'm thrilled.
Oh,
I really
he seems
am.
very level-headed and very honest.
He's really...
Maybe that's because we've come to know McEnroe.
Well, no, because
Jimmy first came up.
Jimmy's a dad.
Yeah. We know what that does
Enough
to you.
said.
Kind of settles everybody down, doesn't it?
It
sure does.
Me.
In our next segment, Mike Fenwick's weather will have you cranking up the heat.
And coming up, if you want your car to crank up this winter, you'll want to catch today's Consumer Report.
And if you think the sun is fading fast now, just wait until tomorrow. We'll show you safe ways to see an eclipse when we come back.
What you are witnessing could be a tragedy about to happen. Is your child prepared for this situation? This child was, and both escaped safely.
Mile High Karate offers a unique Karate for Kids program. This Karate for Kids program is only available at Mile High Karate.
Call now, you'll receive 2 free lessons. Call us at 431-2200.
William Hurt.
You want to talk to me? Then you learn my language. Speak!
Marley Matlin. Their story is as turbulent.
You just want to be you? Well, who are you?
As intense.
I've seen this kind of thing before. It just doesn't work. I love her.
And as exquisite as love can be. Children of a Lesser God. Rated R.
Starts tomorrow exclusively at Century 21.
Mike Fenwick's weather forecast has earned the seal of approval of the National Weather Association.
Owning a home is a big part of the American dream.
And winning is always on the minds of the Broncos.
Now you can win your dream home in the Denver Broncos Dream Home Sweepstakes. Rules and entry blanks are in the home sections of the weekend Rocky Mountain News and at metro area Pizza Huts.
During the Broncos-Redskins game December 13th, the lucky winner will receive the deed to their daily built dream home, valued at over $110,000.
Enter the Bronco Dream Home Sweepstakes now.
It could make your dream a reality.
Thanks, Denver, for making Lennox your #1 pick. #1 in thousands of homes in the Denver area with the Lennox Pulse gas furnace. The Pulse gives you up to 97 cents worth of heat for every $1 worth of gas you buy. No more fuel up the flue. It's saving your neighbor up to 43% of every heating bill. Isn't it time you started saving too? And right now, for a limited time, get special 9.9 financing and the free Pulse Plus 5-year protection package. Don't procrastinate. Call your independent Lennox dealer today.
At Courtesy Ford, we give a little more in service, too, with our lifetime service guarantee.
We'll give a little more, take a little less.
At Courtesy Ford, your Give a Little dealer in Denver.
Mike Fenwick's in today for Ron Allen to fill us in on all the weather news.
Well, I tell you, we probably won't see much snow down here, about above 7,000 feet in the foothills, and some light snow up in the mountains, but it will be windy, especially up in the passes. But up in Casper, Wyoming, 10 inches of snow. Okay?
Really?
Yeah.
Today?
And the storm looks like it's going to move more to the north, so it looks like they could get hit throughout the night and into tomorrow with more snow. Winter has definitely arrived up in Wyoming parts of the state. Woke up to about 8 inches of snow, about 6 on the ground now, and more is on the way. Most of the wet stuff fell in the northwestern corner of the state up around Yellowstone National Park. But the storm is continuing to move to the east and probably a little bit to the north, so they could get some more. And down here in Denver, though, today it was short sleeve weather in Denver. But the time is right to get your car ready for the unthinkable, getting it ready for winter.
Start with a look under the hood. Your engine may not be this complicated, but some of the fundamentals need to be looked after. The hoses, the belts, the oil, what condition is it in? What about the antifreeze in your radiator? That's easy enough. You should change it at least once every year. Antifreeze is not designed to last a lifetime. What kind of condition is your battery in? Are all the contacts from the battery terminals to the cables clean? Let's see, how are your tires? Would you rather be doing 60 miles an hour into a snowbank with tires that resemble racing slicks, or would you rather have good tires like these with lots of tread? And back here in the trunk, is the cupboard bare, or does it have a few things that might come in handy, like battery jumper cables, an emergency flare, a flashlight, a small toolkit, a first aid kit, maybe even a camping-type shovel and a blanket? You know, they're not really as far-fetched as you may think. Depending on what your car needs, it may be as cheap to winterize your car as it is to buy a winter jacket for yourself. It may be a real good idea to do it before the snow falls and before the temperatures drop below freezing. Get it all done in time, then you too can travel in style. Bill Clark, 7 News. Let's go, Jack.
The guy's got style. 64 in Denver right now. Aurora 62, Lakewood 60 degrees. And the high this afternoon got 69. Normal high is 73, so a little bit below. 39 this morning, that too below the normal of 42. 1954 up to 86 degrees. Record high temperature 31, record low temperature. And that was back in 1900, right, the turn of the century. Well, 8 inches of snow up in 8 to 9 inches of snow up in Casper. But looks like what we're going to have for tonight in the Denver area is this storm that's to the west of us. Looks like it may, oh, it's kind of stalled out just a little bit, so it's going to track up to the north and to the east, and so probably up in the mountains you'll get some snow showers above about 7,000 feet, something like that. Much colder air coming in behind this frontal system. It'll move into the Denver metro area during the early morning hours and bring with it quite a bit of gusty wind. Here's that snow back in the northern Rockies and back up into Montana, and also the remnants of Hurricane Payne sitting down here in Mexico, and what it's doing is it's sending moisture right up into the parts of the country that really don't need it. A lot of flooding in Oklahoma, Kansas, parts of Texas, flash flood watches out. 5 inches in Oklahoma today, but some areas of Oklahoma have had up to 15 inches of rain out of this storm for about the last week, and shower and thunderstorm activity associated with it. Also, Oklahoma City, a couple of tornadoes this morning. They could have some more tornadic activity associated with heavy thunderstorm activity along that frontal system that's not moving very much at all. Down in the southeast today, more record high temperatures. We'll tell you about that in a second. Other places around the country, 64 in New York for a high, 61 up in Minneapolis, only 82 degrees down in Phoenix for the high temperature this afternoon. And talking about the record heat, lots of places seeing it today. Augusta, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, 97 degrees in Savannah, 89 degrees all the way up to Baltimore, Maryland, and Jacksonville tied their record high temperature. You can see all these bright white clouds. That's very high top clouds, a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity, and a little bit of clearing in the southeastern corner of Colorado, but those clouds will start increasing as the night goes on. You can see all this heavy shower activity, some of this very, very strong thunderstorm activity through parts of Oklahoma and moving all the way up really into Illinois. For tomorrow, you can see that frontal system still sits through the nation's midsection. That area of low pressure doesn't move very much. It may intensify a little bit, but it looks like it's going to move up to the north. And some snow in Wyoming and also in the mountains of Colorado. More heavy rain, unfortunately, expected down in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, and hot all the way across the Gulf, all the way up into up into actually the mid-Atlantic coast states, getting up into the 90-degree range once again tomorrow. But we'll be considerably cooler. Look at this, 50 degrees for a high tomorrow. Today, almost 70 degrees, so almost a 20-degree drop tomorrow. Snow line at 7,000 feet. Windy for us. Windy and chilly up in the high country with a little snow. And in the western part of the state, they're looking for rain showers and a lot of clouds tomorrow with Grand Junction probably about 55 degrees for the high temperature. Now let's take a look at our Denver Metro forecast tonight. Partly cloudy, increasing clouds late tonight. Isolated showers are possible. Low tonight, 43 degrees tomorrow. Not the best of days. Variably cloudy with some showers. 50 degrees for high. Low tomorrow night, 37 degrees. And as we go into the weekend, clouds, cool, and showers. High 52, low about 35 degrees on Saturday night. So we'll start to warm up just a wee bit. And also tomorrow, we're going to tell you more about it coming up in a few minutes, but we do have a partial solar eclipse tomorrow. Variably cloudy skies. Maybe you'll be able to see it.
A chance.
A chance.
Okay.
But we'll tell you how to safely see it.
Great.
Good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Coming up, a route that'll cut the driving time between Denver and Winter Park gets another go-ahead.
And one of Colorado's most notorious outlaws gets a new home. That story is next.
The stock market, mutual funds, there are lots of ways to invest your dollars, but none with the certainty you get with a 2 to 5 year certificate at Bank Western Federal Savings Bank. Deposit $1,000 or more. The high interest rate that you lock in today will remain in effect for the term of the certificate, and your funds are safely insured. You'll always know exactly what your dollars are earning at Bank Western, no matter what happens in the financial world. Bank Western, with a 95-year history of financial strength.
Not surprisingly, the most advanced watch factory in the world has been chosen to make the most famous watch in the world. It's a Loris. Loris, more watch than humanly possible, at a price that'll make you smile.
What's going on, Dave? Brand names. Dave, you mean all the top brand names you can find at the new service merchandise store in Westminster? You know, sporting goods.
You can find them, not me. I don't have any more room.
But Dave, how about that empty corner over there?
What? Where? Maybe if I got rid of the furniture.
And Dave, remember all the low grand opening specials at all the service merchandise stores?
I'll make room. Clear me out of here.
See you there.
When I shop for groceries, I want the best of both worlds. Double coupons and everyday low prices. I went to one store that offered double coupons, but high prices. Another one offered so-called warehouse prices, but no double coupons. But at Shop and Save, I get the best of both worlds. Double coupons, everyday low prices, and weekly specials like these. Faygo Pop, 16-ounce bottle, 19 cents. Betty Crocker Cake Mix. And Gold Medal Flour, 5-pound bag, 59 cents.
Neo-Nazi David Lane, formerly of Denver, has been moved to the nation's most secure federal prison in Marion, Illinois. Authorities say he was a dangerous instigator of racial unrest at a lockup in Indiana. They say fights between blacks and whites broke out at the prison where Lane continued his racist way of life behind bars. Lane is accused in connection with the ambush killing of Denver radio talk show host Alan Berg 2 years ago here in the city. Lane is also known to be connected with the white supremacy group Aryan Nations, and that group is now being investigated for a series of bombings this week in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. No one was hurt. A Littleton police officer may owe his life to a bulletproof vest. He was shot early this morning while making a routine traffic stop. Investigators say Officer S.D. Collis was hit in the chest but managed to call for help. A second officer arrived and exchanged gunfire with a motorist. 60-year-old Edward Dillon was wounded in the shootout and died later at Swedish Medical Center. Officer Collis was treated for a bruised chest and then released. The other officer was uninjured.
It was 1 year ago today that the Walnut Street Viaduct collapsed onto Interstate 25. One worker was killed and 4 others injured in the accident. A State Highway Department spokesman said it cost $1 million to repair the damages caused by the collapse, which led to delays in completing the original project. 3 outbound lanes of the viaduct should be ready for our use by the end of the year. Completion of the inbound lanes are expected by late 1987. The proposed berthed tunnel is another step closer to reality this evening. A major contractor has been chosen for the privately funded tunnel under Berthed Pass. If completed, the $180 million tunnel would eliminate 15.5 miles of driving over the pass and cut the travel time between Denver and Winter Park to less than an hour. It will be a while before it's completed, though. Construction will start in 1988 with the tunnel opening for traffic in 1991.
In a unanimous vote, Frontier pilots have given Continental Airlines' latest offer a thumbs up. Last night, a tentative agreement was reached between Continental and union negotiators, and today the agreement was presented to the rank and file of the Airline Pilots Association. ALPA is the first union to review and vote on that proposal. The agreement must still get the approval of flight attendants and the Airline Employees Association. They will vote on the offer tomorrow and on Monday. Employees at Denver Coca-Cola have voted to give their union the boot. Workers voted overwhelmingly yesterday to reject Teamsters Union Local Number 435. This brings an end to negotiations that started last December when the union contract expired. All but 5 of the 92 employees who had been replaced at Coca-Cola during the strike are now back on the job. Caution was the key word on Wall Street today. Investigators say investors are waiting for tomorrow's employment report from the Labor Department before taking any chances. So the stock market was mixed at the close. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost about 1.5 points, but advancing issues had a slight lead after active trading.
Denver judges have some of the highest caseloads in the country, while their salaries are among the lowest. This information was part of a judicial poll released today by the Denver Bar Association. The poll, conducted among Colorado lawyers, gives Denver judges high marks for their performances. In fact, 10 of the 12 judges seeking retention next month got positive ratings above 80%. The Tim Wirth senatorial campaign got a shot in the arm today from a world-renowned scientist. Carl Sagan is in town today to endorse Wirth in his race against Ken Kramer. Sagan, a well-known opponent of the president's Star Wars defense plan, addressed a fundraising breakfast at the Radisson Hotel this morning. He says he has known Wirth for many years and shares Wirth's belief that there are too many nuclear weapons in the world.
The toughest sanctions yet against South Africa will now be put into effect by the United States. The Senate voted this afternoon to override President Reagan's veto of the tough economic measures against the white minority government there. The House voted earlier to kill the veto. The Senate move came despite last-minute calls by Mr. Reagan and South African Foreign Minister P.F. Botha. Sources say that Botha threatened to stop buying American grain if the sanctions went into effect. Now, some of those sanctions include no more imports of South African iron, steel, and textiles, and no U.S. bank loans or investments in that country.
Up next in sports, you'll meet one cowboy the Broncos will have to tame this Sunday.
And on the eve of the opening of training camp, another Nugget veteran signs on the dotted line. Gary's up next.
Have you ever been frustrated because the Noid ruined your pizza? The Noid loves to ruin pizza. Call Domino's Pizza. We avoid the Noid. We keep the Noid out and all the quality in.
For those who want more in their morning, the new name of the gain is Today's Business. With financial expert Consuelo Mack and chief economist Bill Wallman. Business news and financial analysis brought to you daily via satellite. Reports that include the stock market, the state of the economy, corporate strategies, profiles of pace setters, and current trends in technology. For those who want more, the new name of the gain is Today's Business.
Weekdays at 6 a.m. right here on Channel 7.
Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas.
You're the best there ever was.
We are. When you're this good at being bad,
They don't make crooks like they used to.
you just keep on getting better.
I just do what is naturally.
Nasty, nasty boys. I don't mean nothing. You nasty boys.
Tough Guys, rated PG.
Starts tomorrow at a theater near you. Check newspapers for showtimes.
Welcome to Woolworth, where there's always something worth shopping for.
Light bulbs.
During Woolworth Dollar Days, you can save. Like these soft whites, your choice, 3 packs, $5 after rebate. Or 3-ways, your choice, 3 bulbs, $2 after rebate.
Flannel shirts.
Men's flannel shirts and a tremendous assortment of colorful plaids. Now 2 for $11.
photo albums.
These 100-page self-adhesive albums are $5, or deluxe expandable styles starting at $4. At Woolworth, where shopping for values is a tradition.
Well, the Nuggets are about ready to go into training camp, and we've had a couple of holdouts. Any change in that contract deal?
A lot of 11th hour talking going on right now over Big Mac, I'll tell you, Jim. You know, it's getting to the point where you expect the Nuggets to call, though, a news conference at any time. Yesterday, they called one to announce Danny Shea's signing. Today, another man, a big man, goes into the fold. He is Wayne Cooper. He, like Shea, signed a multi-year pact one day before the opening of training camp. It was a close call that Coop might join T.R. Dunn and Elston Turner as potential holdouts, but the 6'11" center is relieved it didn't get that far.
I'm very excited about being here in Denver. I never wanted to leave, and I'm very pleased that the thing worked out for me and my family here. So, you know, I'm excited about being in camp tomorrow, and looking forward to a great season.
How important was the time in getting it done before training camp?
It's very important, and both sides realize that, and, you know, we compromise.
We're batting 2 for 2. And we hope that in some small way we'll be able to clean up the other 2 within the next couple of days.
Thank you, Vince. Other NBA news, Orlando Woolridge is now a New Jersey Net. He was traded by the Chicago Bulls for the Nets' top pick next year's and number 2 future draft choices. I say 2 future second-round draft choices. The former Notre Dame star signed a Nets offer sheet that the Bulls refused to match. On Sunday, the city will be wacky with Bronco mania, fever, whatever you want to call it. There's as much interest in this game as any in recent years. Dan Reeves meets his mentor, Tom Landry. The Cowboys have several strengths, including their defensive line, led by the manster, half man, half monster, Randy White. John Keating gets kind of close and personal with 54.
Perhaps more than any one player, Randy White is the heart and soul of the Dallas Cowboys. An All-Pro for 8 straight seasons, White is looking forward to his reunion with Dan Reeves on Sunday, but that feeling may not be mutual.
I enjoyed Dan when he was here. He did a lot of things that helped me when I first got to Dallas, and consider Dan a friend, but when we get out there on the football field, just like I'm sure that they feel the same way, he feels the same way. Hey, for 60 minutes, they're the enemy. Randy White is, to me, like Howie Long, outstanding football player that does everything well.
White has long been the cause of nightmares for opposing backfields. He played a large role in the thrashing the Broncos endured 10 Super Bowls ago. But to the 12th-year defensive tackle, that's all water under the bridge.
Maybe to some of those guys up there that remember it, they'll be fired up. I know every time we play Pittsburgh, they beat us in the Super Bowl. It kind of sticks in my mind a little bit, regardless of how long it's been.
So while Dan Reeves will relive fond memories on Sunday, it's a safe bet that Randy White will not be one of them. I'm John Keating, 7 Sports.
Ooh, poor Curly down there. Well, as most of you know, the Broncos and Cowboys can be seen here on Channel 7 at 2 o'clock on Sunday. At 1:30, you really won't want to miss our 7 Sports special Mile High Shootout. One part of the special deals with former Cowboys and Broncos quarterback Craig Curly Morton. You can definitely tell where Craig's heart is in 1986.
And there's that great rivalry because Dallas people have always come up to the Vale and the Mountain area and try to take it over, and people in Colorado don't like that, and I don't blame them. I don't like their pompous attitudes sometimes because that's the way they are. They think that they do live in Dynasty and all those make-believe places, and they don't. And it's not going to be anything better than to beat them here. And I hope they beat them 100-0.
Don't candy coat it, big boy. Craig says a lot more during that special this Sunday at 1:30. Well, the Giants in Houston today played, and Houston, Mike Scott was trying for a second no-hitter in a row. He had one going through 6 innings until it was broken up by Will Clark in the 6th. It's 1-1 in the 10th inning. And I need to go back to last night to update you on Roger Clemens' problems. A lock for the American League Cy Young Award put a scare in the Fenway Crowd Park, I should say. It happened in the 2nd inning when Baltimore's John Stafaro smacked the Clemens fastball back through the mound. As you saw, it hit him in his pitching elbow. He left the game for the hospital for x-rays, which proved negative. He said he will pitch in the American League playoff opener next Tuesday, despite the bruise. And you know, I got ahead of myself. I have to apologize to the director up in the booth, Andy Taylor. He's on Mayberry RFD. Andy Dudley. Other NFL news, John Stallworth, I want to talk about this, had decided against surgery on torn ligaments in his left knee. The 13-year Pittsburgh star receiver doesn't want to risk a career-ending procedure. He'll begin rehabilitation and go on the 4-week injured reserve list. And speaking of injuries, Houston linebacker Frank Bush has been advised to retire following a neck injury 2 weeks ago. The 23-year-old is going to get a second opinion. And in Green Bay, the Pack sent Vince Ferragamo packing one day after signing former USFL star quarterback Chuck Fusina. And again, Andy Dudley, please accept my apology.
You know they got Opie switching up there.
Opie switching? Where's Aunt B?
Running car.
He's at home making pies or something.
And Barney with one bullet is in the audio booth.
We'll be lucky to get off the air tonight.
All right.
Bullet has your name on it. Coming up, it was nice today, but what about the extended forecast? Stay tuned for Mike Fenwick.
And if it doesn't cloud up, we're in for a rare sky spectacle. That's next.
Get the orange soft drink with 10% fruit juices. Mandarin Orange Slice.
We got the juice. We got the jazz.
10% juice.
We got the taste that no one has. We got the juice. We got the twist. This is the taste you can't resist.
Mandarin Orange.
We got the juice. We got the splash. Orange Slice. We got the taste that no one has. On ice. We got the juice.
Diet too.
Orange Slice.
We've just rounded up a great deal on Wrangler jeans. Men's denims, $11.88. Women's denims, $12.88. And boys' denims are just $7.88. But you better hurry before someone else beats you to it. Wrangler jeans from Target. Price is good through Saturday.
At your Chrysler-Plymouth store sends our new cars right out the door. Out we goes. Out we goes. Everything goes.
Get $750 cash back on new 86 Plymouth Reliant LE or low 2.4% financing, plus the $550 protection plan and a great clearance deal.
Everything goes. Everything goes.
Take your favorite picture, then take a look at Walgreens. We can blow it up a little or blow it up a lot, process slides, or copy your favorite shots. Give next day service offer a second set option too. Wrap up quality photo finishing at Walgreens. We're right here, close to you.
Did you know there's a Walgreens near you that's open 24 hours, 7 days a week with a pharmacist on duty? Walgreens, your intercom pharmacy.
Mike Fenwick's back. A little more on this eclipse business. We're going to be all cloud covered and no opportunity.
Well, I tell you, variably cloudy skies tomorrow. There might be a slight chance that sometime between about 11:30 and 1:30, when the eclipse will be around, we might be able to see it, but doesn't look all that good. It'll be actually the first time, though, that we've had an eclipse that could be seen from Colorado in over 2 years.
The last time we got to see a partial eclipse here in Colorado was in May of 1984, when at peak the moon covered about 50% of the sun's surface. Tomorrow's eclipse, however, won't be quite as spectacular.
You can expect to see the bright round ball of the sun with a small bite taken out of one side of it, and that bite will only amount to, maybe 22% of the sun's diameter, so it won't be a whole lot here.
As with every solar eclipse, the warning goes out: don't look directly at the sun.
Primary danger, of course, is burning the back of your retina, and unfortunately that can occur without people really even knowing it at the time, and they can be looking at the sun and think they're looking at it safely, and yet destroy part of the retina in the back of their eye and cause partial or even complete blindness.
If you have a telescope or binoculars, make sure you use the right filter. Otherwise, punch an 1/8-inch hole in a sheet of cardboard and focus the sun's shadow on a piece of white paper below.
If you don't have a telescope or a binocular with the right kind of filter, and you don't want to use the shadow method, you can come here to the Museum of Natural History. The folks from the planetarium will have some telescopes with the proper filters set up out here on the plaza.
Tomorrow's partial eclipse of the sun will begin at 11:45 in the morning, reach its maximum at 12:37, and end at 1:30.
Okay, along with the Gates Planetarium, Fisk Planetarium in Boulder will also provide public viewing of the eclipse. The planetarium's up on the CU campus near the Event Center. But again, looks like Variably cloudy skies tomorrow and a chance of showers. Not the best of days in which to view an eclipse. 43 for the low tonight. Tomorrow, some clouds and some showers around 50 degrees. Doesn't look like snow down here, but above 7,000 feet. Watch out for some snow showers. Saturday, some clouds and showers, but should start to clear up. Sunday, partly sunny, 56 degrees. And on Monday, partly sunny and 64 degrees. Gary Cruz had an excellent idea. You said rent a plane and go up above
in the clouds, check it out.
That's right.
That's right. Take your negative with you. Don't want to hurt your eyes. Okay, Prep Spotlight Game of the Night. We are going to Jeffco Stadium. It'll be Wheat Ridge and Lakewood. Should be a good one. Also in golf today, Lon Hinkle, Jim Thorpe lead the Southern Open. Both shot 65s. And you folks, I've said enough.
Yes, but it's always nice to hear from you, Gary. Thank you. Colorado's lottery jackpot is growing again. Last night, no one claimed the big prize, but contestants did take home $33,000 in winnings. So next week, the jackpot will be worth $2.4 million. And as always, you can watch the lottery contest right here on Channel 7 next Wednesday, right after 7 News Nightbeat.
A lottery story out of Chicago shows that divorce doesn't always pay. An Illinois judge has ruled that a woman whose ex-husband won the big one in Illinois before their divorce was final is not entitled to any of his winnings. The judge says he can keep all that lottery loot because his ex-wife had already agreed to a settlement before he got lucky.
It's all in how you spin it, I guess.
I guess. Timing is of the essence. We're glad you could join us today at 5. We'll be back at 10 with all the news that's important to you on 7 News Nightbeat.
Coming up next is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. For Jim, Gary, Mike, and all of us here at 7 News, have a good evening.
This has been a presentation of KMGH 7 News, winner of the Emmy for Best Live and Spot News Coverage.
The following is a response to a recent Channel 7 political endorsement.
2 weeks ago, Channel 7 announced its endorsement for the congressional race in District 6. Apparently, this endorsement was based solely upon the incumbent status of my opponent. No consideration of issues or positions was indicated. The impression was further created that there was no real challenger in the 6th. In fact, there are 2 challengers to the incumbent on the ballot. And for the voters of Aurora, Englewood, Lakewood, Littleton, and Sheridan, there are clear choices. My name is Chuck Norris, and I am a candidate for Congress.
This has been a response to a recent Channel 7 political endorsement.
Welcome to the NFL.
There's nothing like being in the NFL, so get in the action. Come on, get into it.
Now you're in the NFL when you get into the NFL Pro Line, because now with the NFL Pro Line, you can get the real thing. The same equipment Mike Ditka and all the rest of the NFL coaches use, the tools of the trade. Coaches' shirts and shorts by Bike. Coaches' cap by Sports Specialties.
Same one I wear.
Sweater by Cliff Engel.
That's my sweater.
And the starter jacket, custom tailored, custom designed.
Who's the new coach? You could be next.
Look for the authentic NFL Pro Line.
Okay, get into it!
NFL Pro Line, get into it. For your NFL Pro Line catalog, send $1 with your name and address to 6921 Preston Road, Dallas, Texas, 75205. NFL Pro Line, get into it.
There's a rule in running for public office. You never try to fool the people. But if you've seen these commercials for Tim Worth, then you may have been fooled. Because these women are actresses. Both were paid to say what they did. And what they said was written by Worth's Los Angeles ad agency to try and fool you into believing things about Ken Kramer that aren't true. If Tim Worth will try to fool you today, what about tomorrow?
Break and enter. That's how burglars get into homes like yours.
To protect yourself, look into PC glass block replacement windows. Strong, thick blocks mortared together into attractive, custom-fit windows that require little care. They give you privacy and let in light. They keep out moisture, drafts, and the burglars. Protect yourself. Look into PC glass block replacement windows. Now.
For a free estimate, call 777-6164. That's 777-6164.
Backstage with Mr. Showmanship on Entertainment Tonight.
Good evening. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. President Reagan has fought long and hard to prevent Congress from imposing new economic sanctions against South Africa. Recently, even leaders of his own party begged him to stop. He didn't. Today, he lost. The Senate joined the House in overriding Mr. Reagan's veto. The senators rejected an unusual long-distance lobbying by threat effort from South African leaders. CBS News correspondent Phil Jones covered the vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 78, the nays are 21.
Only 21 senators voted with the president. He needed 34. It was the first time a Reagan veto of a major piece of legislation has been overridden. The vice president continued to question the effectiveness of South African sanctions.
I had some serious doubts about it, but I think, you know, this is the law of the land.
This was a great victory for democracy in America and for freedom in South Africa.
This turned out to be one of the most emotional foreign policy and civil rights debates in years. The South African foreign minister talked by telephone with 4 senators last night with what amounted to a threat.
He indicated to me that if we overrode the president's veto, South Africa would immediately ban any importation of future grain shipments from the United States.
Senator Larry Pressler here. Who is this?
Today, Senator Pressler received a call from South Africa, Zulu chieftain Buthelezi, also opposing sanctions. But the threats and long-distance calls made no difference. As a result of today's override, the U.S. now has a package of sanctions that bans new investment by American companies in South Africa and American loans to the South African government, revokes South African airliner landing rights in the United States, and bars importation of steel, coal, and agricultural products.
Today, for the first time since I came to the Senate, I break with my president on a major issue.
It was a showdown that split the Republican ranks. Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Lugar, who almost never breaks with the president, today led the battle to override.
As a friend of that government, we are saying, wake up! That's what the sanctions are about.
From the president tonight, 2 messages. To Congress, punitive sanctions are not the best course. To South Africa, now is the time to act with courage to avoid a crisis. Phil Jones, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Pressure from white South African farmers was cited by Botha as one reason for the phone call lobbying.
If the United States refused to buy our products from our farmers will insist that we do not buy from your farmers.
The latest shipment of 160,000 tons of American grain was unloaded a few days ago. The U.S. is the preferred source of grain imports, but they're not essential to South Africa. White farmers here are the most productive in Africa. Until a vicious drought cycle ravaged the country, they kept South Africa nearly self-sufficient in food. But the drought seems to have broken.
From now on, for the next 5 to 9 years, we should have very good rains and very good crops.
That could mean an end to large grain imports to South Africa. But for South Africa's black neighbors, imports fill the gap between hunger and plenty. The South African-based transport system is the key to both imports and exports for those black states. By shutting off shipments, South Africa can virtually hold its neighbors to ransom. Threatening to do so earned Botha criticism at home as well as abroad.
Saying we will punish others, we don't care who we punish, as long as we punish somebody who is utterly immoral.
The South Africans say they must look after their own people, black and white, before they worry about anyone else. And no matter what the U.S. Congress does, South Africa's bakeries will still keep turning out bread with or without